The Baltic MR01 was launched in 2021 to massive hype and received amazing reviews. Watchfinder & Co. called it one of the most attractive watches in recent memory, while Adrian Barker called it a budget Patek. I didn't jump on the hype train and buy this watch when it was first released. Although I thought the watch looked nice, I just didn't get the commotion around it. Surely, a sub $1,000 watch couldn't be that good, right? Spoiler alert, it absolutely is. Baltic is a French micro brand, having been around since only 2017. Baltic aim to offer timeless watches of the highest quality at fair prices. They are best known for their simple, clean watches, with the Aquascape diver probably being their best known model. Baltic's modern take on mid-20th century watch designs resulted in the MR01, which was released in 2021 when it blew up. Even Baltic probably didn't expect such a warm reception, as all variants of this model were sold out in a few hours. Even after all these months, Baltic seemed to be really struggling to catch up with the demand, as these watches are still sold out and Baltic are back ordered till June of this year. Now, I know what you would say. Why even make a video about a watch that's sold out? That's because this watch is incredible and more people should know about it. And you can still get this watch on the secondary market at or just above its MSRP of $600, and that's what I did. Towards the end of last year, I decided to get myself one of these and see what the hype was all about. I received this watch last month and my initial reaction was that although it looked nice, it just wouldn't work for me. I felt that the color of the salmon dial was too similar to my skin tone and it would never wear well. But this opinion quickly went out of the window as it spent more time on my wrist. Simply put, this watch is fantastic. Let's start off with the dial. This dial is simple and clean with no text other than the Baltic name on it. The distinctive features of this salmon dial are the applied oversized Breguet numerals, traditional leaf-style hands, and a railroad minute track which gives it a beautiful retro vibe. The small sub-seconds dial is in a non-traditional spot sitting between the 6 and the 9 and has a radial guilloche design which stands out from the rest of the grain texture dial. Here, let me clarify that I'm not a huge fan of vintage or retro style watches. I mean, I like them, but I'm not crazy about them. So I was surprised at just how much I enjoyed this watch. This watch has a stainless steel case with a 36mm diameter and a lug-to-lug width of 44mm. Being a dress watch, it's no surprise that this watch is only water resistant up to 30 meters. The dial is covered by a domed Hesalite crystal, further amplifying the retro design language. The bezel is perfectly symmetrical and well polished. However, I feel that it's a tad bit thick and perhaps Baltic could cut down on it in future iterations, giving us a slightly larger dial to bezel ratio. The crown is just polished like the rest of the bezel and is simple without even displaying the brand's logo. This watch is very thin at just 9.9mm including the domed crystal and feels nice and comfortable on the wrist. The open case back flaunts the Hangzhou Caliber 5000A, which is a Chinese micro rotor movement. This is an automatic movement with an accuracy within plus or minus 20 seconds a day with a power reserve of 42 hours, which is not bad. At first glance, you would probably think that this movement belongs on a watch costing several $1,000s. It does look really nice, and although it does try to imitate expensive looking movements, a closer inspection would reveal some of its imperfections. The finishing isn't the best, and the screws are just painted blue to give off a luxurious look. Nevertheless, this is one of the best looking movements you're likely to see in a watch that costs under $600. Everything about this watch feels like it's well thought of, including the strap. Baltic uses the color wheel perfectly to complement the salmon dial with a navy blue pin buckle strap. The Italian leather strap is thin and flexible, feels premium, and wears comfortably. The overall aesthetic of this watch is very pleasing. Now, this design isn't original as it leans heavily on vintage watches. Patek has done this over the years, making several beautiful watches, but you would expect no less from them. What's remarkable is that a micro brand is being mentioned in the same breath with a Calatrava while costing 30 times less, and it's not even like they've cut too many corners to achieve this. Of course, I'm not comparing this watch to a Calatrava, but my point is that this watch punches well above its weight. After owning and using this watch for a couple of weeks, I understand the hype around it, and I only wish I had purchased it earlier. All in all, I've been pleasantly surprised by this watch and have had a very good experience with it so far. I think this is one of the best dress watches you could buy for around 600 US dollars. So if you're in the market for a new dress watch, you might want to consider this one. That is, if you're okay with buying it on the secondary market. I hope Baltic continues to improve this model family, and I'm eager to see what the future holds. This was my first Baltic watch, and after such a good experience, I have high hopes from them. If you liked this video, please hit a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'll be back with a new video very soon. Until then, happy watch collecting.